My name is Samantha Cooper, and I'm a fifth-year PhD candidate in historical musicology at New York University. This year, I was the 2020-2021 Dr. Sophie Buchhalter Graduate Fellow in Jewish Culture at the Center for Jewish History. And I would add that this fellowship has been tremendously helpful in providing me with access to the archival materials I needed to finish my dissertation, in spite of the fact that my work this year was all facilitated online during the COVID-19 pandemic. I was working on a book-length dissertation project that offers the first cultural history of Jewish engagement with opera in New York from the late 19th to the early 20th centuries. I've truly experienced so many Eureka moments at the Center for Jewish History that it feels impossible to choose just one example. Because my dissertation is this sprawling cultural history, the research I've been engaged in is somewhat unusual because I don't have a main collection that forms the backbone of the research project. And so I've done a lot of digging through a whole bunch of collections like the American Jewish Historical Society collections, the YIVO Institute for Jewish Research collections, and the Leo Baeck Institute research collections. Before the pandemic, I spent quite a bit of time with the Yiddish periodical Der Grosser Kundis, just flipping through back issues. And the comics in this paper are one of its most distinctive features. And what I couldn't believe was the number of opera-related comics contained in this newspaper. In addition to advertisements for books about opera, like William Edlund's world-famous operas, volume in Yiddish, and advertisements for assorted opera programs in both mainstream and Yiddish theaters in New York, the magazine regularly featured caricatures that poked fun at Jews in operatic context. A November 1910 caricature makes fun of being an opera singer. It displays a fictional Signor Popkini's 8-step process of getting ready to sing at the opera, from waking up to enchanting the public to winning thousands of female hearts. Other examples incorporate contemporary Jews involved in the opera industry, like a May 1911 caricature depicting Jewish opera impresario and conductor Josiah Zuro, where he claims it would be his financial pleasure to introduce personifications of a stern Madame Opera to a youthful Miss East Side. And I could go on. I mean, there's so many other wonderful examples. I'll give you just one more, though. So in March 1918, there's a caricature that is repurposing opera to speak to contemporaneous women's labor issues. And this one portrays a husband and a wife conversing at the opera house. The husband turns to his wife and he asks her what she thinks of the prima donna's voice. And she replies, "If I had a voice like that, I'd be elected to Congress in our district." And the joke here is that Stimme, or voice in Yiddish, is also the word for vote. So there's inherent wordplay happening in this comic. Following the PhD, I hope to transform and prepare this dissertation for publication as a monograph, and then to turn to an investigation of historical iterations of the Jewish woman's popular singing voice. I've done some work in this area already, which will be published soon with the Journal of the Society for American Music, but there's a clear need to figure out what it has meant to sound like an American Jewish woman, and to tease apart how and why the accents and signifiers of New York specifically and the sonic identity associated with New York impact what it means to sing Jewish womanhood.